Hey, it's David Hooper. This is Big Podcast Daily. This episode sounds a little bit different because I'm doing it from my office. At my feet, my trusty dog Parker. I've talked before about Spreaker Studio, which is a software application. It's on your smartphone. Kind of works like a cart machine as well as a recorder. If you're not familiar with cart machines, you basically press a button and something plays, such as this. It's kind of cool, kind of like a live radio simulator. In fact, you can actually go live with it. I'm recording this, then posting it, although this episode is not edited. And the reason I am doing this episode is to talk about the equipment that I'm using, which is a setup that I'm testing for remote recording. If you are doing remote episodes, you're on the road, you're like me, you're out speaking, preaching the gospel, whatever you're doing, you might want to consider this. You probably already have a phone. You may be using that phone to listen to me right now. Well, why not turn it into a studio? The equipment that I'm using, I'm actually using a knockoff of one of the most popular microphones ever, the Shure SM58. It's about $100. It's a great mic. You're familiar with this mic if you think about a handheld mic. See, people think I'm always so smooth, but the truth is I make a lot of mistakes, and that caught me because, frankly, I'm used to pausing after a mistake. I'm used to re-saying what I meant to say in the first place, and then I go back in and edit it. But there are no edits on this episode. So you're getting David Hooper as he is. There's no compression on my voice. You can probably hear the popping that's coming off of this knockoff of the Shure SM58. Anyway, as I was saying, if you think about a handheld mic, the Shure SM58 is probably the one that you're thinking of. It's in every comedy club, every music venue, every church. This is the mic when it comes to live sound. It's solid, it's reliable. You could use it as a hammer. In fact, I know a lot of guys that have hammered stuff with it. Still works, and every engineer knows what to do with it. It's old technology, it's proven technology, and because of that, the Chinese have been able to knock it off. This is called the GLS Audio ES58. They even kept the same name. It's available on Amazon, $30. About 30% of what you would pay for an SM58. It's a great mic. Again, old technology. My theory is they might even be making it in the same factory. A lot of times that happens. Not to get off on a tangent, but sometimes these factories, maybe they're a first, second shift factory, shut down for the third shift. They'll keep the factory going, stick a different label on it, or just run quote-unquote counterfeit goods, ship them out the back door at a much lower cost. There you have it. I'm not saying that GLS is knocking this thing off, but it's a pretty nice copy. $30 on Amazon. ES58 is the name of the mic. It goes into something called the iRig Pre. You may be familiar with the iRig 2. That is how I and a lot of other people do Skype interviews, going straight into a mixer, connecting the phone to the mixer to the computer. Well, this is called the iRig Pre. It's basically a preamp. It gives the microphone enough power to go into your phone, and that lets it go into the Spreaker app. And the reason I'm using the Spreaker app, it's not because I host on Spreaker. Big Podcast Daily, it's normally hosted on Libsyn, but I do have an account on Spreaker. I've got a special podcast just for remote episodes, and my Libsyn account looks for new remote episodes that I put out, sucks those remote episodes down into the normal feed. It goes out as normal. If I didn't tell you this, if it didn't sound any different, you wouldn't know that anything was different. So that's the process. The microphone, which can be any microphone, I simply use the ES58 because it's cheap. I don't do a whole lot of remote episodes. If you lose it, not a big deal, $30. Whatever mic you got is going to work. But this is pretty good because it's indestructible. Don't even need to put foam around it or really take care of it. Like I said, you could use it as a hammer. It travels well. Microphone into the iRig Pre, into whatever phone that you are using. Although, note that you will need a jack to plug into the phone. The 1/8 inch RCA jack, headphone jack, you might call it. If you're on one of the new iPhones, you're going to need an adapter to go into it. So that's basically the process, and it works great. It's great when you're on the road. finish out on Spreaker using that app. It uploads it to my Spreaker account, lips and sucks it down, and it goes out normally as if it were a regular episode. So there you have it. That's my remote process. If you've got questions, you've got comments, reach out to me at bigpodcast.com. We'd love to hear how you are doing a remote podcast episode. And if you got a good story, maybe I'll feature you on a future episode of Big Podcast Daily. If you haven't subscribed, do it. I'm here every day. Go to where you get your podcast. Google Play Music, Apple Podcast. Search for Big Podcast Daily. Hit the subscribe button. You will never miss an episode. Thank you for listening to Big Podcast Daily. I will see you tomorrow, where I'll be back talking more about podcasting, how you can grow your audience, get better connected with people, and make more money with your podcast. See you then.